Welcome back. December the 10th is celebrated across the world as the International Human Rights Day. So that's going to be our focus on this last leg of the program. But don't forget, we're following what's going on in Rivers State. If it happens, anything happens any moment from now, we're going to bring it to you right here on the show. I'm being joined right now on the program by the chairman of the National Human Rights Commission, Mr. Tony Ojukwu. Mr. Tony Ojukwu, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
A good place to start, I guess, will be the incident that happened a few days ago in Tudumbiri village in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State. I don't know, what do you make of all of this, given what has happened? Yes, the army has repeatedly come to apologize about the airstrike, but 85 persons have gone to an early grave they did not bargain for. How would you respond to that vis-a-vis human rights?
Of course, the right to life is the most precious right, and their right to life has been timely taken away from them, and that's a grievous human rights violation. It should be accounted for, and compensation should be paid for the families and the survivors of those who are bereaved. This is a very, very sad moment for us, that while celebrating a week before celebrating International Human Rights Day, that this number of Nigerians will lose their life in this way. However, I believe the apologies have been made. However, that does not remove that investigations should be carried out. Investigations are important because of future reoccurrence, and also to bring succor to the families affected. There ought to be accountability for what has happened, and then there has to be compensation paid.
So to what extent do you expect the government to do? Because this is not the first time we're having promises of investigation. And sometimes we don't see what comes out of it eventually. We must also commend the members of the National Assembly, the Senate, that recently went visiting and gave them 109 million, said it's their December salary. So we must commend those senators for that gesture. But in terms of time frame and expectations in specific, what will the Human Rights Commission expect the government to do?
Well, it's not a matter of Human Rights Commission only. What Nigerians expect is that the loss of life is a very serious matter. That's the most precious right. And if there's loss of life, there has to be an investigation, and there has to be accountability for it, and then there has to be compensation paid. The gesture of the National Assembly is commendable. However, at times we are fond of sweeping things under the carpet in this country. And that's why, the culture of accountability is very, very low. I think what will assuage Nigerians and what will also assuage the Commission is that there is accountability for what has happened, and that the people affected are paid compensation. And there is a commitment that this kind of thing will not reoccur in future. It has happened so many times in the past.
So, Mr. Ojukwu, let me ask you, what progress do you think Nigeria has made in protecting and promoting human rights, in your view? You've been around this cause for quite a while. And your general assessment, since we're marking this day, how much has Nigeria done, maybe unknown to the public, to protect and promote human rights?
The country has done a lot in its effort to promote and protect human rights. Of course, I always want to look at my past before coming to the present. We're in a country for a long time under military rule, and people could not even voice out their right. But today, look at even this Kaduna issue. People are able to call government and say, government, you have to do this. There was a time in the past, everybody would have kept mum and nobody would have been able to say anything. If you say anything, probably you'll be arrested or molested or something like that. What I'm saying is there are a lot of avenues like the Human Rights Commission now that you can lodge your complaint, and those complaints will be looked into. You can see that we now have a toll-free number, 6472. And this toll-free number, any Nigerian can call it from any part of this country, and the voice can be heard. Is increase in access to Nigerians to be able to lay their complaints. And of course, that has made it possible for more than 1 million Nigerians to lay their complaints at the footsteps of National Human Rights Commission. Like today, the Zaki followers came to my office and brought a letter of complaint insisting that their members have been killed in this way, and that there must be accountability and compensation paid. And when conflicts like this arise, the only way to move forward is to do justice, to do the right thing by ensuring accountability and also assuaging those who are bereaved. The apology is excellent, it's commendable that the authorities have rendered the apology, but the apology does not remove accountability and compensation for the families affected. The real apology is in commitment to this not happening again. So these are some of the issues that have been brought up because we now have more rights to make demands, to ask questions, and everybody has condemned this. And this is one of the ways we now show our liberty, our exercise of our rights in this country, and this is commendable. I must say that it doesn't mean that there are no more violation of rights. Of course, there are still unlawful arrests every day. There are still torture in investigation. There are still discrimination for one reason or the other. Women's rights are still not being accorded where they should be. Women are not yet at the table where discussions and decisions should be made. Elections are far from being perfect in this country. But it's all work in progress. The important thing is that we're all committed, that there are a lot of people who are working day and night to make sure that we get it right. The aspect we need to work on is ability to give account for whatever decisions we take or things that happen, and the ability to hold people accountable for wrongs they have done. Just like the kind of thing we did during the SARS protest, where we had to make sure that any officers who have been involved in police brutality, who have been involved in unlawful killings, and so on and so forth, are held accountable and compensation was paid. That is the way forward. Accountability for human rights violations.
Okay, let me, before, I know you mentioned the number, I would like you to reel out that number because I may not have data to support what I'm about to say, but maybe if you go on the street and you do a vox pop and say, who has the Human Rights Commission toll-free number in case your human right is violated, do you know the number? I don't know how many Nigerians know that number. So if you could reel out that number again for the benefit of Nigerians in case they have trouble relating to human rights.
Yeah, the number is 6472. It's a toll-free number. It's a number that the Commission has in collaboration, 6472, 6472, which the National Communication Commission, in collaboration with the Spotlight Initiative and USIWA, was able to get this to help us assess Nigerians, also deal with issues of sexual and gender-based violence, which came up during the COVID period. So this is one of the initiatives the Commission and its partners, EU-US Spotlight Initiative and USIWA and the National Communications Commission, will put this in place to make sure that no matter where Nigerians are, they're able to access the services of the Commission and get assistance quickly.
Let me find out from you, how much of work is being done by your commission to ensure that irrespective of whose ox is God, everybody is brought to book and accountable? Maybe give us some instances of exactly, because I know you mentioned a few things in passing and putting a few issues together in a stream of thoughts, but in terms of specifics, How do you ensure that human rights is respected by all parties? More like saying, how do we reposition, if you will, the Human Rights Commission, in your view, to become like a pressure group indeed for the people against anybody who violates their rights, even if it's government that set up the commission?
Well, you know, the Human Rights Commission, we embark in a lot of creation of awareness, because we believe that the first step towards realizing your right is to even know your right is violated. Because if you don't know your right is violated, you probably keep quiet, you won't even seek any assistance. So that's what we are doing. We have established offices in the 36 states of the country. Right now, we are trying to partner with National Orientation Agency and Public Complaints Commission that have offices in all the local governments to see whether we can establish human rights desks in their offices that can be a collation point for violations by those who are not literate enough or ICT savvy to use telephones and things like that to dial on that toll-free number. Now, when we do that, we as many people as lodge these complaints, we try to process their complaints, and some of them, their complaints are not complex really. They're not difficult. There are things at times they need legal advice, for instance. They may need to be connected to where they can get assistance. For instance, people who are violated sexually may need medical assistance, and they can be referred to our network of service providers in all the states. There may be people who need legal advice. You refer them to service providers who provide legal advice. We have a network of all these in all the states. There may be people who need psychosocial support. You refer them to people who can give them that kind of support.
All right, Mr. Ojukwu. Just two quick questions, and maybe I'll take it one after the other. For the people who their rights have been violated, they're in detention, and for reasons best known to the state or whoever took them there, what is the Human Rights Commission doing to make sure that people that are behind bars are not meant to be there, whose rights are being violated, they are protected? What is being done? And then women, that's on the other hand, and children, in terms of ensuring that they have a right to education. So I've asked you three questions in one: incarceration, gender-based issue, as well as access to education. If you can just wrap it up in about a minute.
For incarceration, of course, there are two levels of incarceration. The ones are the police before they are now charged to court, and then the court can also commit people to detention. For those in the police cells, we give them lawyers, and they go to court, and they go to the police station and make sure that they are not kept beyond the constitutional period of 48 hours. We do that every day. And then for those in court, those who don't have lawyers, we support them with lawyers, and also refer them to legal aid counsel that can help them to get a bail if those offenses are available offenses. And then for women, of course, every day we have complaints concerning sexual and gender-based violence or domestic violence. And we try to make sure that the parties are brought here, we mediate and see how we can help the woman. If it's a woman that needs shelter, for instance, she has been molested, she has been beaten in her home, she doesn't need to go back to that violator that night. We try to connect her to shelter where she can stay. Maybe if she was injured, we try to take her to the hospital to get some relief and get treated first. And then we now get the person who violated her and make sure that the person is now prosecuted by the police. For children, in terms of their right to education, we liaise with the state governments to make sure that the children are out of the streets. They are taken to the schools. Yes.
My sincere apologies. It wasn't my intention to stop you at all, because we needed that information so that everybody will be on the same page. But unfortunately, we do not have any more time. I understand our time is up on the program. So thank you so much, Mr. Tony Ojukwu, Chairman, Human Rights Commission as the world celebrates International Human Rights Day, which was actually yesterday. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
I'm actually the Executive Secretary, not the Chairman.
Oh, Executive Secretary. My sincere apologies. Executive Secretary of Human Rights Commission. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
All right. That will be it on the program for today. You know, we're tracking everything happening across Nigeria as far as politics is concerned. And that's it on this very edition. Thank you for your time and, of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo. God bless Nigeria.